Atomic Elemental researchers and strategists. At Peers, we stand as your all-in-one partner, adept at steering you through the intricate realms of politics, economics, and business. Join us at Peers. We're our seasoned team with expertise in politics, economy, business, and law is committed to your success. Together, we will navigate the future, making informed decisions that lead to lasting impacts. Follow us on Facebook, X, and LinkedIn to stay informed about how we can help you achieve your goals.
Previously on Episode 18 Looking Back, Setting Sights Forward, SONA 2024.
Of course, I think the other accomplishment that the administration has accomplished in this past 2 years would be the streamlining of government processes. We've seen Congress pass and the President signing to law the E-Governance Act, which is going to be crucial in ensuring that that government services are made closer to the people by way of digital platforms. Yesterday, President signed into law the new Government Procurement Act, which is a critical part of ensuring operational efficiency in the government bureaucracy. We have seen reforms in the ease of paying taxes. All these efforts put together in ensuring that the people are made not only as clients to the government, but as stakeholders. And we've seen that in the way that Congress, the elected representatives of the people, have really fast-tracked on pushing for the legislative agenda of the President, ranging from the first law ever passed for this Congress, the SIM Registration Act, to the ones that we were able to pass yesterday and enact into law, the new Government Procurement Act and the Anti-Financial Scamming Act.
Kind of the legislation, Congressman, what are measures in relation to food security, access, in relation to that?
Well, it's good that you mentioned the gut issues that we have to confront. Of course, everybody knows with the rising prices of food products, the rising the challenges, especially in the price of rice, has really impacted adversely the quality of life among even the food security in our local communities. And I think this is where Congress has also put emphasis on three aspects. First is production. Now Congress is looking at how we can address the gaps in farm and agricultural infrastructure. We just did oversight hearings on the state of our irrigation facilities and infrastructure in the country. The irrigation is going to be crucial because in many countries that harvest, their farm productivity is higher. Like in Vietnam and Thailand, one of the competitive elements is really the availability of water resources. So that's going to be critical for our agriculture. Like for example, Citibank left, but actually sold its stake to a local bank. I believe it's Union Bank, diba? For me, it can be a business. I'm not privy to why Citibank decided to leave, no. But the way I look at it is Citibank left as a business decision, but not necessarily giving up their business here. They just transfer it to a local player. So for me, it's even indicative of a growing confidence in our local players. I mean, you probably look at something as half full and half empty. I rather want to see it half full. So you're seeing multinationals looking at our other local counterparts as feasible partners for this, in the case of Citibank. And of course, there's always the geopolitical reality that's going around that cannot be avoided. That's part probably of the business decision making of many businesses. But
as senior citizen, please tell us what this administration has done and will intend to do regarding the benefits for senior citizens as well as the persons with disabilities. Congressman.
In Congress, no, I can only speak for what is being done from Congress, which is of course in support of the administration. Is now we're looking at separate case rates for example, in terms of healthcare, reviewing the PhilHealth case rates for social citizens, I think Congressman Joey Suseda did a good presentation before we ended session last 2 months ago or a month ago, detailing the introduction of special case rates for the healthcare needs of senior citizens. That's really going to be important because senior citizens have a different set of healthcare needs, especially in their more senior years, and that's going to be an important thing to discuss, especially when our population profile moving in the way it is. Pangalawa, yung pinag-usapan namin sa Congress, yung universal pension for senior citizens. That would really help to a point the care of our senior citizens. No, malaking bagay ang universal pension kasi we will be able to address the needs of those who are indigents, those who have not prepared for their pension, lalo na sa Pilipinas, that everyone has a pension plan in place, no. That's really going to be very important na intervention.
Friends, viewers, followers, and fellow movers for real democracy and development, Filipinos here and abroad, na imbaga bigat, maayong buntag, marahay na aga, mayapa yabak, maupay nga aga, mapia kapipita, saba al-kair, maayong aga, magandang umaga, good morning. Alam po ninyo, napaka excited ako dito sa topic na ito, but before we proceed, let me welcome our partner, no, for this episode, Attorney Juvic Degala.
Magandang araw po sa ating mga kababayan at narito na naman tayo. Sana po ay maging mabunga at produktibo ang ating talakayan ngayong umaga. Nakakatuwa po at kasama po natin ang ating matikas na kasamahan, si Pards Pierre Edmond Tayaw. At siyempre, meron tayong napakahusay na panauhin ngayong umaga.
Salamat, Pards. Alam mo, itong guest natin, idol ko to eh. Matagal ko nang pina-follow ito. And for some reason, nagkasabay kami sa mga guesting. And yun, we started conversing while he's no less than the architect of automated elections in the Philippines, and I'm proud to always say that, because if you're going to ask me, no, tagal ko na rin namang bumuboto, Pards, ikaw matagal ka na rin bumuboto. I was able to distinguish, no, the difference between manual and automated elections. Dito sa page natin nakakatawa, no, at iimbitahan ko yung mga sumusunod sa page namin. Kung kayo po ay troll, okay lang po yun, pero intindihin mabuti yung mga issue. At kung po pwede sana, kung kayo po ay mag-post ng komento niyo, sana naman you go beyond, no, personalities and go into the issues. Kasi ang purpose po namin dito, ipahayag yung katotohanan at siguro kung hindi po kayo sang-ayon doon sa aming mga sinasabi, baka po mas maganda na sabihin ninyo kung ano yung ayaw ninyo at hindi ninyo nagugustuhan. Sa akin kasi, I was able to distinguish, as I was saying, yung na-compare ko yung manual doon sa automated. Alam po ninyo, nung ako'y bumuboto, nung 1995, nung una akong bumoto, sa totoo lang. At nako, hindi lang isang araw ang hihintayin mo bago mo malaman ang resulta ng eleksyon. And in between that time, ang daming nangyayari.
Daming pwedeng kababalagan na mangyari.
At alam mo, sa totoo lang, bukod doon, ang daming supposedly, maraming na-reform, no? Pero ngayon, ganun pa din, walang natatalo sa eleksyon, Pards. Walang natatalo sa eleksyon, lahat dinaya.
Madaya.
Oh. And by the way, before I welcome formally our guest, alam po ninyo hindi lang ito magandang lalaki, no? Ito po ay advocate din ng good governance, advocate ng sustainable living at talagang nagkakasundo kami kasi pareho kaming foodie. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the former COMELEC Commissioner Attorney Goy Larrazabal, my future senator. I'm very proud to introduce him this way. Goy, I think, yeah.
Thank you very much, Prof. Paniero, all the viewers. Thanks for having me here. And thanks very much for the kind words. I hope we'll be able to share information today that will help increase their awareness also of what they need to prepare for the elections.
Okay. Thank you for that, Com. So I suppose we'll get right into the heart of things. Let's go. Let's start with something pretty basic, Pards, Com, no? Kasi yun na nga, nabanggit ko kanina yung mga komento sa page natin, no? Hindi ko alam kung matutuwa ka o maiinis ka, no? But of course, that's part of what we're doing. But at least for the information of the public, Com, kahit ikaw, attorney, kasi election lawyer ka, no? Ano ba ang kaibahan nitong manual at automated election? Anong advantages and disadvantages?
Well,
yeah.
The advantage obviously of automated elections, it's faster. You don't have to wait days or weeks to get the results, no? And there's an audit system naman there na you'll be able to check the results by either random manual audit or you could do the checking of the ERs, election returns. I think yung sa manual elections, ang gustuhan nila is they see the head of the electoral board tallying the votes. 1, 2, 3. Kahon, di ba? 1, 2, 3, 4. Kahon. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kahon. But they don't see that it's difficult to go back to manual elections, especially for national elections. Kasi kung manual ka, sobrang pagod yung mga teachers. Sobrang prone to harassment. And it creates a lot of, before it created a lot of questions because of the delay in the proceedings. Now naman, mabilis naman yung resulta. In fact, before midnight, you should already know that if you win or lose, di ba?
Yeah.
Pero, I think, it doesn't necessarily mean just because we're automate elections, we should stop there. I think the thrust should be more transparency, more accountability, more information awareness, or more, there should be an info campaign as to how the process is done. So people will be more confident in the results. Kasi a lot of the doubt that's created is because they are unaware of what's happening. They are unaware of the audit procedures. They are unaware of the steps that happen. Thus, parang, alam mo yung, that's where doubt comes in because yung iba, obviously, they want them to create doubt. They want to create suspicion as to results. So they feed into this, di ba? I remember before 2009, leading to the 2010 elections, ako dun at saka I was being assisted by then Director James Jimenez. And whenever I'd go to mga lectures, di ba? Mga public forums, etc. You know, there would be some people who'd ask the same questions every forum. As in, you know that they know the answer. But I would still answer it. Somebody asked me kasi, why don't you say that you've already answered it? Why don't you say that nasagot ko na yan, tapos na yan? And sagot ko simple, some people in this forum did not attend the previous forum. So if I say that nasagot na yan, parang that's a cop-out So I have to answer it. Maski it's asked 100 times, I have to answer the same question 100 times because maybe 500 people, like 5 of those did not attend the last forum. That 5 will already have been informed. So I think that was the concern with the previous the elections after, because when some would be asked, they would say, ay, nasagot na namin yan, nasagot na namin yan. So, ang mga tao, ay, nasagot mo, bakit mo sagutin ngayon? So, that was the reaction. No? But sa akin naman is, it doesn't matter how many times they ask the same question. You have a duty to answer it. You have a duty to explain it, because not everybody knows what you know.
That's true. That's true. Actually, that's what we're doing here at Peers Com. Kaya nga, tinatay palagi doon sa example. So, yeah, Pards, pupuntahan kita actually kasi nga, sa local ba, ano bang experience mo dyan? And then perhaps you can throw the same concern to Comgoy.
I agree with Com. Unahin ko lang muna yung ibalik natin yung sa manual, pag-usapan lang. Actually, in favor ako sa manual kasi alam naman natin maraming human intervention dyan. Mas malaki kita ng abogado. Yan, just being honest.
Yeah.
Actually, pagdating sa halalan talaga sa mga benefits at advantages, pabor ako sa automated. Inuulit ko lang yung distinction niya yun. Just being honest.
Pero malaking bagay yan, Pards, no? It's part of informing the public further. Mas madali nilang maintindihan yung ganyan eh.
Kasi dati kasi Pards, pag halimbawa sa municipal level,
Hello?
ang ginagawa namin ay meron kaming per district doon, isang lawyer, and then you have several paralegals. Ngayon na lang na-cut down na, isang lawyer na lang, mga 3-4 na paralegals sa municipal level. So ang laki po ng kitaan sa legal profession ang nawala.
Panyero, in fact, now sa manual elections, ang malaki doon is the mga pre-proc, di ba? Mga pre-proclamation contest. Sa automated elections, wala na pre-proc kasi by the time you file, wala na.
Proklama na.
Proklama na.
Totoo yan. So, sa totoo lang, malaking advantage naman talaga ng automated elections. Mabilis siya. At naniniwala naman ako yung may safeguards to protect the integrity of the voting process.
Alam mo, yun yung minsan natatawa na lang ako, Pards, sa sa totoo lang, no? Kasi paulit-ulit pa din yan, no? Tuwing eleksyon, parang walang natatalo, lahat sila nadaya, no? So ano ba ito? Meron na bang napatunayan, no? Meron na bang mga election protests that one way or the other has been proven to be right? Kasi ang hirap eh. I mean, all throughout, no? Parang kine-question palagi yung integrity ng elections. Kaya nga, doon sa description ng episode natin, ang election doesn't make a democracy. But whether we like it or not, it's a key element. It's very fundamental. No? So, paano ba? Meron na bang napatunayan na dayaan o nadaya ba? O ano ba?
Sa ngayon, sa panahon ng automated elections, I'm not aware of any election protest regarding electoral fraud na nag-prosper. Puro mga haka-haka pa lamang, pasintabi po doon sa mga sinasabi nilang mga mathematical experts, IT experts, gano'n. May mga pinapresent silang mga data na hanggang doon lamang. Parang speculation dating. Pero pag wala pa akong maalala na nag-file sila sa court to debunk or discredit the automated elections.
Sa akin naman is there were protest cases na we handled through the past few elections, and nakita namin na it's generally accurate. May mga konting mga 5 ballots per precinct na medyo hindi maayos pagka-shade, so hindi na bilang, but as a general rule it's accurate kasi we not only look at, when you file a protest case kasi, you look at both the digital images of the ballots and the paper ballot itself. And that's the distinction we have as compared to other automated elections in the world. Kasi in the States, in some counties, they do DRE, direct recording election, na touchscreen. Atin is paper-based. It's basically a paper, you feed it to the machine, it's a scanner, and the scanner reads the ballot and counts the votes, diba? So, mas maganda sa atin yung automated elections because it's a paper-based elections na kung may magprotesta o kung may magreklamo or kung gusto may mag-recount, madaling gawin yan.
Yes, you can merong trace kumbaga
Yes.
no? Oo.
Yes.
Pero anyway, so it seems to me, no, again, especially for the benefit of our viewers, it seems to me that the main question now as far as automated elections is security. In terms of structure natin, I mean, from the time that you what's this inaugurated automated elections to today's day and age, are we secure enough, infrastructure-wise at least?
Before I continue, I have to say that there have been some cases we handled na nag-file yung natalo, and we just give them the facts. We tell them, okay, ito yun. But a lot of them want to know talaga kung tama talaga ang bilang. And for their peace of mind also. So, is we assist. We don't judge them. We just tell them, ito yun. Ito yung possible scenarios. Then, we help create more information. And what you said about security, security comes in different forms kasi and aspects. Say security of the people manning the elections, security in the process of the delivery of the paraphernalia, security in the conduct of the elections, and security of the infrastructure, digital infrastructure itself. So there are some things kasi people always see that machines, the servers, the canvassing centers, etc. They don't see that you have to also secure the handling of the ballots. Kasi, for example, Professor, ikaw, you feed the ballot into the machine, di ba? You feed the ballot, you fill up the ballot and you feed it to the machine reads it. The machine will not decide or will not distinguish whether you filled up one ballot or you filled up 100 ballots. No, sorry. The machine will not distinguish whether it's that one person filled up one ballot or one person filled up 100 ballots and fed it into the machine. Or 100 people filled up different ballots, then feed it independently. It will not say, hey, I will not accept this ballot because it was fed by only one person. Diba? It won't. But there's a way to audit it because if you look at it, there's a timestamp So makita mo sa timestamp kung may variance yan. Sorry, I'm just telling you. Kung may variance yan sa production rate, makita mo doon na, why is it so constant, diba? Kasi hindi naman iba-ibang tao, hindi naman pare-parehong every 30 seconds, di ba? There's always like 30 seconds, takes 1 minute, takes 40 seconds. Then iba-iba yun, iba-iba yung pag-feed. So that in itself is an indicator that something happened. But the machine will count the votes correctly, but it will not say that the ballots were filled up surreptitiously, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that had to be looked at. You don't only look at the system, the system and the hardware being used, but also the process of the filling up of the ballots. Was it done legally or illegally? Was it done by some people trying to create fraud, or was it done that everything was above board? So those are things that have to be looked at.
So, pero that particular part of the voting process, that is where kasi human intervention na yan,
Yes.
Pero I suppose sa experience mo din, Parts, meron namang fail-safe dyan, may bantay dyan, di ba? Tama ba?
Yes. Meron naman kinukuhang mga nagpuput up na tinatawag na firewalls o protection ng digital infrastructure. Pero hindi mo maiiwasan pag nagharap-harap ang mga katulad ko, makasamahan ko lawyers, pag nagkikwentuhan nga kami yung yung human intervention other than the authorized people, yung sa transmission. Remember dito sa 2022 elections may naglabas ng kakaiba daw ang yung sa transmission, may pattern ganon. So, hindi mo maiwasan mga kababayan natin mag-isip ng hindi maganda.
Okay. And my feeling there, sorry, I have to say this.
Yeah.
If people have questions, dapat sagutin yan. Even no matter how
Pero sinagot siya, di ba? I mean, the accusation came from former Secretary ba? Eliseo Rio?
Yeah, but I think may additional questions siya eh. So, akin naman is, I don't want to tell Comelec what to do, but my stance is if somebody has a question, I have to answer it because that's not for anything, but it gives everybody a peace of mind. It gives everybody a peace of mind na, okay, may tanong ako, may question ako, may duda ako. Pag basagot na maayos, I'll stop na. Yun talaga.
Pero, Pards, balikan ko yung sinabi mo kanina, no? Kasi, pag nag-present ng mga mathematical or whatever, analysis or whatever, no? Kasi, ang tanong ko kasi kung may mga ganung, especially coming from a former public official and an IT expert, I suppose, no? So, bakit hindi sila nag-file ng case? So, ang iniisip ko na lang, kung nag-file man sila ng case o hindi sila nag-file ng case, probably because of what you mentioned, Pards, kanina, na parang, ano ba, hindi ba nakikita ng korte o mahirap tingnan ng korte na ito ay hard evidence para mag-prosper yung kaso?
Yun nga napakahirap siya ngayon kasi saan natin i-compare ano ang talagang batayan natin. So, is purely mathematical. Ang hirap niyang ilahad sa isang korte. Kaya unless and until na meron ka pang clearer evidence at hindi lang pattern, hindi lang puro numero, I mean, merong isang tao na magsasalita na talagang meron silang ginagawa o may alam siya na merong nakialam sa dapat kalabasan ng halalan. Mahirap po, Pards.
Pero ang Comelec is a quasi-judicial body, right?
Yeah, and I think they filed, so I have to apologize. I'm not too familiar with the petitions, meetings, or letters they might have filed. But as a general rule, ako mismo before, kung may magtanong, ako mismo, sasagutin ko kasi I felt at that time and until now I feel that you're there in government to serve the public, no. So before, I remember there were some questions talaga na di ko talaga maintindihan bakit tinanong, but I still strive to answer it. In fact, I remember one time sabi ko na, after elections, if nothing happens, I'd like to invite the critics. I named several critics na to have lunch with me. Akong maglibre, let's have lunch after elections and let's see, usap tayo. I kept on asking them. They never had lunch with me after that. So I figured, okay, if you wanted to trash it out, I'd invite them to my office. Yeah. Yung iba pupunta, yung iba hindi talaga. So feeling ko is like, okay, sinasabi mo sa mga tao na hindi ka pitakangyan, pero inibita ka sa opisina ko pero hindi ka pumunta, anong meaning nun, di ba?
Anyway, alam mo, ako, I can attest to that, Pards. Sabi ko nga sa iyo, kilala ko na to si Com matagal na no? So, the fact that there were some initiatives toward that direction and wala namang take. So I'm inclined to think, and I'm still going to press on it and say, kung merong mga ganyang palang mga cases, i-file ninyo. And you educate the public and as much as possible also. I suppose may MCLE naman, no, sa mga abogado. I suppose pinag-aaralan naman ito, no. So imposible naman na magpe-present ng kaso, merong ganitong mga ebidensya, tapos walang nakakaintinding imposible, nakapasa tapos hindi makaintindi na. Imposible. So, in other words, to my mind, it now all boils down to how Comelec does its job, no, from the mandate that was given to it by law, and the capacity that it has, not only in terms of resources but in terms of individual capacity, technical capacity, and of course manpower, and so on and so forth. um, alam mo, compards, natutuwa ako kasi hindi pa nawawalan ng mga bagong initiative ang COMELEC, no? Hindi lang nito, kahit dati pa, no, to be fair with the other COMELEC administrations, but the advance in technology has become really quite remarkable, no? And COMELEC came up with this task force sa katotohanan, katapatan at katarungan, no? And ang maganda ito, no? Maganda ito kasi the purpose of this I suppose it's an ad hoc body created by COMELEC, is to check on misinformation, no, fake news, particularly if I'm not mistaken, the use of AI was mentioned there. And that if you're running for office and you're going to use AI, nung una parang tama ba, correct me if I'm wrong, Com, sa pagkakatanda ko, ang pronouncement ng COMELEC noon hindi sila pabor sa AI. Pero dahil nag-react ata ang NAMFREL ba o PPCRV yung nagsabi na hindi payagan si AI, tool yan bakit mo ipe-prevent? And kasi pagka prevent mo yan, pinagbawal mo, all the more you give reason to unscrupulous people to use it. But now the question is, ito bang task force na to, ang titingnan lang nila yung fake news, yung use ng AI directed towards COMELEC? Hindi ba pwedeng parang umpire, parang referee yung COMELEC doon sa mga kakandidato o sa mga posibleng magamit na mga fake? Ito recently meron daw fake news laban sa Pangulo, no? So whether we like it or not, this is political and therefore will be used election-wise. So where do we draw the line, so to speak? Tanong ko, siguro tatanong ko na din sa iyo yon, part, sa being an election lawyer yourself.
Ikaw muna.
Okay. I think we first, if that were me, no, I first would manage the expectations of people. Kasi when you say you're going to monitor the use of AI against COMELEC, pwede yan because it's against a single entity, di ba? But if you're going to use AI you're going to monitor the use of AI in the elections, you have to ask, do you have the manpower for that? Or you will use AI to monitor AI, di ba? So you can't monitor everyone all the time, and
pero
they tried.
Hindi sinabi doon if this is in coordination with NBI-Com kasi pagkakaalam ang
it's hard
sa NBI lang or DICT ba, tama ba?
Yeah, but AI comes in several forms kasi for example it's such what I say now will not probably be applicable a month from now because of the advancements of AI, diba? So you have to pinpoint what are the specific areas you want to monitor. For example, I think kahapon the other day, Elon Musk posted a video of presumptive Democrat nominee Kamala Harris, and it was apparently fake. It was a fake video created by AI, diba? So parang that's an example of how disruptive AI can be and used in dissemination. But in the elections, again, no, I'm actually grasping for ways to find. I'm grasping for ways to monitor it or regulate it because it's hard. It's so hard. You can't even regulate social media now because ang daming lusot dun. For example, sasabihin mo na, you can use only your account, etc. You have to show access to your dashboard. Ang gagawin lang niya, hindi na ako mag-dashboard. For example, ikaw magkandidato, hindi ko gagamitin dashboard mo. Hindi mo gagamitin dashboard mo or account mo to promote your social media post. You use others, di ba? So sasabihin mo, wala akong control doon. But in fact, you are. You control it, but not directly, di ba? Kasi it's not in your account. So maraming lusot doon. And kung ganyan ka dali maglusot sa social media monitoring, I think it's going to be more difficult. To monitor AI, it's a good idea, but I guess how do you operationalize it?
Bago ako pumunta sa iyo, bago ko ibigay sa iyo parts, no. Siguro I'll take that as a QCOM. I hope you don't mind, no. Siguro after August, meron kami naka-schedule kasi ng August 11. So
Okay.
after that, I hope that you will be available kahit na I mean, I will inform you because we have not only an IT but a cybersecurity expert. He's based in Germany. Hindi masyadong magaling yung peer member namin kasi ano lang, consultant lang ng Federal Ministry of Defense ng Germany. At
Wow.
saka,
Wow.
Hindi masyadong.
yes. Tsaka yun, nung nakwento ko nga sa iyo na may na-invite na din kami na local expert natin, ano, and
Yes.
bilang talaga local expert, dati pang congressman, no, Congressman Ace Asidilio. So let's schedule that kasi
Yes.
itong midterm election, lalo na talagang alam mo, napapailing lang ako sa mga tumatakbo eh.
The akin naman is, you can monitor, you have to define what you'll monitor regarding AI
Yun na nga.
Because it's so broad that I myself am having a hard time even determining where to start. And because knowing how Filipinos are, if you tell them itong bawal ngayon, within a few hours, they already have a way out of it. So how you're playing catch up eh. And in election practice, election management, you not only have to think like how people will overcome it, but you have to think like, okay, they're going to do this, but you have to think 5 or 6 steps ahead of them para even if they catch up, lamang ka pa rin.
Yeah.
So it's just to say, I'm going to do this. You already have, okay, ito yun. Pagkatapos ito gagawin ng gusto mag-violate. Pero ito yung counter ko. So it has to be preemptive yung pronouncements mo para at least kung may sasabihin ka, ma-implement mo kagad. Yun.
Archie, you were saying earlier?
Alam mo, Pards, itong fake news na to, actually matagal na nating kalaban to. Since time immemorial. Yung mga chismisan, yung mga black propaganda, part talaga yan ng pamumuhay nating mga Pilipino. Maging sa ibang bansa. Subalit, ito na nga, with the advent of modern technology, ito lumabas tong si AI or artificial intelligence. It created a new, totally different ball game. Nga. Kung dati ang na-edit natin ay documents, na-edit natin ang pictures. Pero ngayon, imagine na video na makikita ng mga tao na ikaw ang itsurang yon. So it will create a lot of problem. So, kailangan talaga meron tayong siguro group na pwede magbantay dyan. Subalit po sa amin dito sa Bulacan, meron po akong kinreate na group of lawyers com at parts, we will hurt you where it hurts the most. Aside from criminal cases, kasi alam naman natin mahirap ang criminal cases, it's proof beyond reasonable doubt. Pero yung focus po namin ngayon yung civil cases eh. Mag-a-attach kami ng properties, pag naamuyan namin na sa'yo yan, tatatakan namin yan, whether as an individual person or a corporation, tatatakan namin ang properties mo. Pati mga bank accounts mo, gagarnish namin. Yan po ang plano namin, at several lawyers na po ang nagpakita ng interest. Bali, volunteer group po kaming itatatag. And we will help COMELEC. Sa ngayon, nung last sa barangay and SK elections, nakita ko po ang effort ng COMELEC. Naniniwala pa rin ako sa COMELEC na they are doing a great job. Tignan na lang po ninyo na example, Pag sinabi ng COMELEC, bawal magkabit ng tarpaulin sa itong mga lugar. Overnight tanggal yung mga yan. Yung mga kapitbahay ko nagtatanggal ng tarpaulin, nilalagay sa loob ng bahay. So malaki pa rin ang paniniwala ng ating mga kababayan sa COMELEC. Tulungan natin ang COMELEC. Hindi naman niya nga kaya lahat yan in terms of manpower, funds, gano'n. Di ba, Com?
Yes.
Oh.
Maputi na lang kakampi kita parts kasi baka mamaya wala, kukunti na nga lang, igagarnish mo pa
ang kagandahan nito kasi is once you make a pronouncement, you have to be able to enforce it. Like what COMELEC did before na hinabol talaga na yung ibang kandidato. So the others followed the rules kasi alam nila serious yung COMELEC. Hindi kasi pwedeng nagsasabi mo ito bawal to, but may makalusot next hindi mo hahabulin. Yung iba hindi habol gagawin rin namin. But kung alam nila hahabulin sila and there's a penalty and there's consequences to it, they will follow. They will talaga.
Tama.
At the end of the day, what I am able to glean from the discussion, Pards appear Juvic, no? Tinatawag kitang peer ngayon to emphasize magkakampi tayo kasi baka mamaya kasuhan mo. So anyway, kidding aside, it all boils down to the quote-unquote the mandate of COMELEC. And before the live broadcast, we were talking about the limitations of what COMELEC does, also because of the limitations of the law. You know,
Yes.
I've always been talking about this in public in many discussions, not just recently in some TV talk shows and news. I've been emphasizing that guys, alam po ninyo, yung mga importanteng batas natin, yun pa yung hindi una ng pansin ng ating mga mangbabatas. Kaya baka naman pagdating ng halalan, piliin naman ninyo yung talagang pasensya na pero I really have to always mention this. Piliin natin yung mambabatas na talagang alam niya yung gagawin niya bilang mambabatas. Alam po ninyo ang daming mga batas na kailangan nating reviewin at ripasuhin, no? We're talking about elections. The Omnibus Election Code really requires updating. When we're talking about just reforms, we need to update. And I was telling our good com before the live broadcast, pinagkwentuhan kami nila Pards. And honestly, and I invite our viewers to take a very good look at the electoral code of BARM. And I'm so proud to say that their electoral code is quite comprehensive, and I have to say equipped with the demands of the times. Yung sa atin 1985 pa, tinignan ulit. Actually 1942 ata ito na legislation if I'm not mistaken, Com. So you can just imagine. Bigyan ko kayo example na. Halimbawa, party list. Pasintabi sa mga hindi lang sa party list kung hindi sa COMELEC. Ang party list po sa pagkakaintindi ko bilang isang political science person, ang binoboto mo party. Dahil hindi natin naiintindihan yung party at kahit doon kaya ko binanggit yung Omnibus Election Code, napakapayak po ng definition ng political party sa Omnibus Election Code. Kumbaga, ang intindi lang natin yung political party gamit lamang pangkampanya, hindi po. Marami pong purpose. In fact, merong social development function ang political party. Pero dahil nga hindi natin naintindihan, naglabas ang COMELEC na pag ikaw party list, ang magkakampanya yung nominee. Di parang anong kaibahan nito doon sa tumatakbo ng ordinary na district representative. Nandun na tayo, alam naman natin na kailangan makilala natin kung sino yung nominee para malaman natin kung yung nominee ay talaga doon sa talagang grupo na nire-represent niya and so on and so on. But the whole thing is lost in translation, so to speak. So, paano ba natin magawa ng paraan nito, Pards? Kasi nakakalungkot sa totoo lang. Parang hindi naiintindihan itong mga ito.
Kailangan magsulong yan yung mga may hawak po ng Committee on Election Reform sa Senado at saka sa House of Representatives. At magpatawag po sila ng mga experts, pagtipon-tipunin nila yung mga kaalaman at karanasan ng mga taong ito upang gawing napapanahon at mas epektibo ang ating Omnibus Election Code. Ang Supreme Court parts ginawa na yan. Ang Rules of Court ay ni-revise to make it updated. So, ganun din dapat ang COMELEC. Pwedeng mag-initiate ang COMELEC, makipag-usap po sa mga committee ng House of Representatives at Senate, and then let's effect changes.
Tama. And you if I can say, no, if I'm allowed to say na, you need a good person there sa Suffrage Committee to come up with a new election code. Update the mga spending limits, you update the procedures, you give more teeth to the COMELEC to run after candidates who might not be qualified. You do it such a way na the filing is not ministerial of COMELEC to receive the COCs. There's a lot of things that can be done, but that should be done, but cannot be done now because we have an outdated election code and special laws for elections, no? And kailangan yan, yung focus dyan of the committee will specifically be improving the election code. Pasensya kung may matatamaan, kung babaguhin mo yung election code, but if you need to do it, it's going to be painful because it will have to clamp down on some activities that were allowed before but should not be allowed anymore.
Actually, yun nga yung punto doon, Kom. Kaya palagay ko hindi tinitingnan mabuti ng mga mambabatas to kasi maraming tatamaan eh. Pero actually, sila din mabebenepisyohan kung tutuusin kung rerepasuhin nila ito. And actually, iyan yung Omnibus Election Code, isang example lang yan. Ang dami. Local Government Code,
Yes.
IPRA, National Land Use, ang daming mga importanteng mga batas na kailangang balikan pero hindi nababalikan, no? Pero going back to COMELEC, ang explanation naman ng iba, no, kahit na wala pa itong mga bagong batas na ito, COMELEC can issue what's this resolutions or memos. In other words, it can come up with policies, so to speak, toward this end. Is that a good excuse? And if it is a good excuse, why is it that it has not been acting to address these issues?
There are limits kasi, and you cannot issue resolutions kung walang basehan na batas. For example, if you want to implement some changes and prohibit the activities, it has to be based on law. If walang batas na sasandalan ng resolution, illegal yun. Remember before that there was a requirement for a drug test, but it was shut down by the Supreme Court because there was no law and it's a property tax. So there are some things that can be done. And point in fact, no, is for example, you can increase the period to file petitions to cancel COCs, para more people can question the candidates who they think is not qualified. COMELEC came up with a ruling or innovation recently na as soon as ma-file yung COC, they'll publish it online. So maganda yun para makita ng mga tao, ito talagang mga tao to nag-file. I remember it was mentioned kanina na what if may mga dalawang tao na parehong surname, by publishing the list of candidates immediately after the filing period, that gives the public or the voting public the opportunity to vet kung may tao na nag-file pero hindi qualified. I-question ka agad yung COC niya.
So, in other words, kailangan maintindihan nating lahat ito, no? Especially to our viewers. Again, so walang excuse para hindi balikan at tingnang mabuti ng mga mambabatas ang Omnibus Election Code at ripasuhin ito. Kasi
It's about time.
About time. And but
ng ating mga kasama dito, no, na kailangan talagang baguhin ito. Yes, Com?
yeah. And I think that will have to be done in the next Congress kasi now we're already in July, di ba? So, but hopefully with the support of the president, na may magpupush yung executive department na to come up with a new election code, I think it can be done.
Yeah. You know, I'm emphasizing that especially because of new developments. Bago tayo pumunta doon sa new developments na talagang kung akong tatanungin ninyo as a political observer, no? Nakakalungkot kasi ang dami namang magagaling na Pilipino, limitado tayo doon sa mga ganung choices. Pero siguro tuldukan lang natin itong issue na to, Pard, sa Com, itong issue ng Bamban ba? Mayor Alice Go.
Bamban Tarlac.
Bamban Tarlac ba? So ang tama ba na ang COMELEC talagang as it is right now, no? Talagang ministerial, hindi nila pwedeng baguhin yon, hindi sila pwedeng kumbaga tingnan mabuti yung final na COC kung baka mamaya yung final na COC para sa artificial entity pala, hindi sa totoo. Paano yun?
Kasi when you file your COC, ang gagawin ng COMELEC is i-check if it's notarized and kompleto, yung tama mark, yung picture, etc. I-check na nila kung tama yung fields na you fill up, yung and information which includes your full name, your birthday, yung residence, etc. And what they do is when they get that, yes. When they get that, they will check in the voter database kung nandun ka. Ikaw ba talaga yun? Kung ikaw yun, tama yung sinulat mo, tatanggapin nila yun. Kasi you assume that when you're a candidate, you have to be a voter. And there are steps that are allowed or given to the public to question people from registering as a voter. Unfortunately, in this case, no one questioned her being a voter. So since no one questioned her being a voter, medyo it was also difficult to question her being a candidate, di ba? And it's hard for COMELEC for me, it's hard for COMELEC to say na, this person is not qualified kasi hindi tama yung sinagot niya. When you apply as a registered voter, you have to pass through the election registration board that's vetted. The public is given the opportunity to question or challenge the application for registration or application for transfer of a particular person as a voter or to another city, municipality, province, etc. There are steps, there are procedures, there are avenues people can take to question you being a voter and a candidate. Ang problema dito is wala nag-question kasi due to certain siguro kasi kalyado sa isang tao or walang gustong nagreklamo. So, wala talagang mangyari. It's difficult for COMELEC to, once receiving a COC, saying that, hindi namin tatanggapin nito. Maski kompleto yung COC, kasama yung CONA, kung kompleto yan, mahirap tanggihan ng COMELEC yan. There's no basis
So, kaya nga, babalik tayo parts dun sa usapin na kailangan ng baguhin ng ating Omnibus Election Code. Yung nga sinasabi ni Com kanina na ministerial lang talaga yung pagtanggap ng COC. So, kung sakali na mabago ang ating Omnibus Election Code, bigyan natin ng kapangyarihan ng COMELEC to go beyond mere accepting COC. So, pwede sila mag-taff ng law enforcement entities para i-check. Totoo ba ito? Anong pagkatao nito? Saan nanggaling ito? Para wag nang maulit ang nangyari dyan sa pagtakbo ng isang mayor sa Bamban Tarlac. And I think hindi lang isolated case yan sa Bamban. Palagi ko mayroong iba pa dyan na hindi pa natutuklasan.
Exactly. And there are two things that can be done here. No? First is you can actually file a case against her. You can question her. You can file an exclusion case with the municipal trial court to remove her from the list of voters because of the basis of which she's not a Filipino citizen, di ba? Second, you can file a quo warranto case. And third is you can file a a criminal case for violation of Omnibus Election Code for falsification of your entries. Now, but that can be done. That can be done now. It's not yet over. No, they can still file a case to get that. But proactively, Paniero mentioned na we have to give COMELEC the right tools to prevent things like this from happening. Because I'm sure it's happened in other places. Tahimik lang.
Pero going back to the process that you've narrated earlier, Com. So nag-file ako ng COC, no?
Yes.
Pasensya na, hindi ko pa na-experience mag-file ng COC kahit sa barangay kaya hindi ko alam yan. So i-check na yung COMELEC sa voters list, ha? So ibig sabihin, nasa voters list ito si Alice Guo.
Exactly.
No?
So no one questioned her being a voter. No one questioned. They should have questioned already her from being a voter at the ERB stage. You know, when you file, when you go to COMELEC and I file an application to be a voter, when I go out, I'm not a voter yet. My application has to be confirmed by the Election Registration Board, which meets every quarter. So, for example, April 1 to June 30, lahat ng applications there were processed by the ERBs in every city and municipality on July 15 to 16. So, kung may questions ka dun, dapat you've already questioned it there. Now, what if you did not question the application? You can still file a case sa MTC for exclusion to remove that person as a voter. Like for example, ikaw, Prof, no? When you file your COC, you're a registered voter. Kung ilagay mo ng birthday mo, August 1, 1999, obviously, mali yun kasi that's not your birthday in your registration. So, sasabihin na, ay, hindi namin tatakipin to because may error. Or for example, wrong form na ginamit, hindi namin tatakipin yan. Hindi notarized, hindi namin tatakipin yan. But as to the truthfulness of this, what you put in, it's going to be difficult for COMELEC motu proprio to deny it simply because what you wrote was, even if it's not true, but it's what's in your record, it's difficult for them to deny the acceptance of it.
No, what I was trying to pursue earlier really is, so nag-file nga si Alice Guo. So ibig sabihin, nasa voters list siya. So in other words, talagang plinano ito, no? Nag-register as voter and so on. Anyway, talagang pagdating sa mga ganitong issue, kulang ang isang oras eh. Meron pa akong hindi natatanong. Meron na po tayo, ladies and gentlemen, na bagong election provider. Itong South Korean firm. At as expected, alam mo, parang clockwork yan sa COMELEC, no? Lalo na pag may bagong contractor, no? Siguradong merong issue. Hindi yun ang pag-uusapan natin. Ang pag-uusapan, no? Ano bang makakabuti ba na meron tayong bagong contractor, meron tayong mga binili na bagong mga makina COM? Kasi meron na tayong mga biniling makina dati, di ba? But I suppose there will be new machines that will be provided by Miro, if I'm not mistaken. So in that particular case, what's the benefit of getting a new provider, so to speak? Will it not conflict with the existing infrastructure, with the existing system that's already in place? Of course, it's proprietary to COMELEC. Tama? So, proprietary, atin na yun, ano? Pero ang tanong lang, ano ba to? Compatible, so to speak, yung gagamitin natin.
My understanding is that it's a new system altogether. New hardware, new software. Lahat ng bago. Kasi two different providers, like laptop, di ba? It's like you buy a laptop, you buy a laptop with Apple or HP, use a different OS, di ba? So it's not compatible talaga. I remember before, since 2013, I said that dapat Comlec should regularly replace the vendor or technology provider because, you don't want to be too familiar with the systems, di ba? But how they do it, that's their call. I don't want to comment about it. But akin is changing a system provider, technology provider is actually a good thing. But other than changing it, if you want to change it, the most crucial for me, one of the most crucial is getting people to not only understand the process, but also to be confident on using that new system. Kasi
And trust
elections
the
is
process.
perception. Yeah. You have to make people trust it, because if they don't trust it, maski anong explanation mo doon, they will never trust it. But if you make people understand what's being done, if you make people know what the steps taken and what are the procedures and everything about the system, and they will be confident that, hey, even if I don't see it, but I know maayos pagka-explain, they will trust it. They will trust it. They will believe in the results.
Paano to? Pag may mga ganitong bago, nai-inform kayo, parts, mga lawyers?
Pag dumating na, pinapatawag naman kami para ma-observe namin yung gagawing mga testing, pati hanggang sa printingan yan ng mga results, gano'n. Meron kaming mga representatives to observe. Alam mo, part yung bagong service provider natin is, I think napapanahon din naman. Although hindi pa natin alam kung ano magiging performance, or kung anong capabilities. Sabi nga ni Com, bago lahat. Software, hardware, lahat po bago, no? Kasi yung previous service provider is so much maligned na kahit na anong gawin nito, hindi na makakabangon sa kaisipan ng mga maraming botante at maraming Pilipino. Yung trust naging doubt. So tama si Com, kailangan talaga maunawaan ng ating mga kababayan kung ano ba itong mga bagong teknolohiya, bagong service provider, anong background yan. Baka ang halalan na pinamahalaan lamang yan sa mga maliliit na bansa. O kaya nagkagulo pa. Ganun. So, masyado pang konti ang detalye na binibigay sa atin. At matapos nating makilala at malaman yung bagong technology, yung bagong service provider, and then unti-unti nating yakapin at paniwalaan ang resulta nito. Kasi sabi mo nga, ugali na natin, walang natatalo, lahat dinadaya.
Akin ang tama
doon sa bagong provider na to.
What?
Anong value added daw nitong bagong provider?
It's a new system, so not many are familiar with it. So if not many are familiar with it, the plus is that they can say na, oy, kaya namin gawin. They can, yung mga who sell their services can't really say much about it. Conversely also, since not many people know about it, there's going to be a challenge as regards to educating the voters. The voter education campaign is very, very important. You assume that not everybody knows how to use it. And now, kasi may confirmation before the ballot is posted to the ballot box, may confirmation needed. That's something that's a very small thing, but that's very important, that has to be disseminated to the voters. So, siguro, the next few months, dapat mag-triple overtime na yung COMELEC, informing the public na ito yung mga bagong procedures, ito yung bagong makina. So, it has to be massive. It has to be even more massive than 2010. Because 2010 was, we were from manual going to automated. So we had a massive information campaign telling people how to do things. The difference now is that you're not telling them from manual to automate. You're telling from automated to another automated system. Ano mga steps na ginawa mo dati na hindi mo gagawin ngayon? Or anong steps na dapat hindi mo ginawa dati, but dapat gawin mo ngayon. And sometimes that's a bit difficult. That's a challenge, and that's a that's something they have to focus on, because kasi when I go to, for example, pupunta ako sa presinto, sasabihin ko lang na, automated na yan, pareho lang sa dati. But hindi ko alam, may dapat pala akong gawin during the voting process. Kung hindi ko ginawa, anong mangyayari sa balota ko, di ba?
Baka masaya.
Baka sayang yun. So sayang yun. Sayang yun. Maraming, wag naman mas spoiled na ballots, or wag naman na yung process, yung production rate and cycle rate will be lower than before.
Anyway, I'm sure we've heard a mouthful, no, from everyone in this episode, and
we should talk again.
Narinig ninyo.
Bitin eh.
Kulang tayo sa oras, no? Let's give a few minutes, or not minutes, but a few what's this? Just a few, no, for our gentlemen to give their concluding remarks, and as we're assured by the good commissioner and peer attorney Juvic, definitely this is not going to be the first and last talking about elections itself. So, any concluding message, Com?
Elections is not a one-person team, one-person event. Like, for example, saw me before, but I was together with thousands and probably hundreds of thousands, even millions of people, Filipinos, who worked together to make the 2010 election successful. It's not me, it's not you, it's we. Together, we make this a successful elections. Together, we face the challenges and help each other to make our 2025 elections even better than before.
Thank you, Com. Pards?
Una sa lahat, nagpapasalamat po tayo kay Com Goyo sa napakahalagang panahon niya na senior sa atin at sa ating mga kababayan. Ako, ang parting message ko ay para po sa lahat. Ang halalan po ay napakahalagang gawain. Isa po itong sagradong gawain. Kailangan magtulong-tulong po tayo na ito ay protektahan at gawing tama ang resulta. Sapagkat ang pundasyon ng matibay na demokrasya na tulad sa ating bansa ay nakasandig po sa isang malinis at tamang resulta ng halalan. So kung hindi tayo magtulong-tulong na bigyang proteksyon ang proseso ng halalan, ay mapupunta sa wala ang ating mga ginagawa at hihina ang ating demokrasya. Kaya yung parting message ko, Parts, ay isang panawagan para sa lahat na may malasakit sa ating bansa. Palakasin natin, pagandahin pa natin ang proseso ng halalan sa ating bansa. Salamat po.
At muli po sa aking pamamaraan ng pag-inform sa publiko, alam po ninyo ang peers ay talagang nananatiling nakaantabay, no, sa mga darating pang mga impormasyon na kailangan nating maintindihan para sa halalan. Siguro i-summarize ko lang, 3 puntos lang po para lalo nating maintindihan itong ating episode. Unang-una, pinag-usapan natin ang kaibahan ng automated at manual election. Yung pong mga makukulit at gustong balikan yung manual election, sige lang ho, ituloy po ninyo yan kasi talagang sa tingin ninyo yun ang maganda. Pero sana dahan naman ninyo yung inyong mga argumento. Talagang gawin ninyong substantial. Kasi sa usapan natin ngayon, ang lumalabas talagang maraming kumbaga benefits, no, maraming pros ang automated elections. It's not a perfect system. There's no perfect system anyway, but still very much a far cry, no, from manual elections. Of course, there are some benefits, so to speak, or some pluses with respect to particular sectors, and our partner has been candid enough to admit this, no. But overall, of course, the benefits of an automated election has been quite settled. No, second, we've talked about, no, the limitations of COMELEC. and the fundamental need to not only review but to revise, if not even come up with an entirely new omnibus election code. Again, if I may emphasize, this is a 1940s law which has been revisited only in 1985, even before the 1987 elections. So you can just imagine, we have not yet elected anyone from the many elections we've had that even tried to look into this election law, a very important piece of legislation, so to speak. So you can just imagine how behind we are as far as elections are concerned. And again, ulitin ko, if we even compare the BARM Electoral Code with our election laws nationally, nakakahiya naman. Baka naman mas magandang tingnan nating mabuti kung ano ang kailangang panggawin. Huling-huli, at ito po ay napakinggan din natin na explain sa atin. Kailangan pala talagang dapat hanggat maaari, binabago natin ang sistema, binabago natin ang provider, in-explain na din sa atin na sabi nga nila may kasabihan, familiarity breeds contempt. So pagka masyadong nagiging familiar sa sistema, mas lalong nagiging vulnerable, ika nga, sa mga fraud, at sa mga iba pang gawain na hindi makakabuti sa ating halalan. At yun po, napakinggan natin ang ating mga kasama. Seryosohin po natin ang ating halalan. Di baling makisali tayo sa ingay, pero sa bandang huli, dapat tandaan natin kung ano yung dapat nating gawin bilang mamamayan, bilang Pilipino. Nang sa ganun, mapaganda naman ang ating sitwasyon dito sa bansang Pilipinas. Yun po, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat at hanggang sa susunod, katulad ng nabanggit ko, hindi po ito ang una at huling pag-uusapan natin mismo ang patungkol sa halalan. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Salamat.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Com. Thank you very much, Parks.